let's try and pick one of the most simple places to start, which is how do you handle an incoming lead? So let's call this system handling an incoming lead. The department, you would probably put that under maybe sales or marketing.
BDM.
Yep, BDM. Roughly, how long does it take, assuming that microphone is on, how long would it take to then qualify a lead? So once you know a lead's coming in, that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to have a look at how do we qualify a lead.
Say a week, pretty quick.
Yep. The actual process of once you actually get the lead into the software and what we're going to do now, that's a pretty quick process too, isn't it? It's like a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Yep. The primary owner, so who has this knowledge? I mean, obviously you, but is there anyone else on the team as well that could be able to qualify leads? Yep. So you might enter their name. So the objective, and I am putting words in his mouth because we've talked through it, but the team member would go through and fill this out. So what are we actually going to have a look at now? Like if you give us a sentence or two to overview what we're about to record.
Yeah, so this is similar. How you follow up a lead that you meet at a networking event. So following up a lead.
Perfect. Do you have any existing documentation or systems that might be floating around for this?
So I've written a list of our products and services.
Yep. So okay, so that might be an attachment to...
Yep. And also recognising what is an ideal target customer or client. Perfect.
And are there any particular logins or tools, or what are we going to do most of this in?
Mostly we use HubSpot.
Yep.
Is the main one.
All right. And I don't know, the top level steps on what completes, I'm assuming you'll get an email come in and that'll appear in your inbox. What usually happens at that point? Like what happens after you get an email?
So usually an email comes in, or we'll send an email out, and that information gets uploaded into HubSpot. So all the information, client, company, details about the company, size, what market they're in, what industry they're in, and that gets all uploaded into our CRM, and then we'll then make notes to the CRM.
Got it.
As we
so
communicate.
You getting an email from them would trigger this process, some sort of qualification of lead process, and then it automatically gets sucked into Infusionsoft through Gmail HubSpot through Gmail or the email program, and then so you'll know then to jump into HubSpot, and then you would locate that lead or that company, and then you would go through some sort of qualification process. Like, is this someone even worth following up on? And then you might create a deal and assign it to someone. So that's kind of like the overview of what it is that we want to do now. So that would get written down on here. I'm going to use ScreenFlow. So I'm just going to record this now. Just to make this as easy as possible for Harry, we'll pre-assume some steps. So I would just start off by going, hey, it's Dave here, and I've got Harry as well. We are in the BDM department. We are looking for how leads are qualified and then allocated through to a team member to create a deal and follow up. So that's what we're here to do. I'll let Harry drive. I'll ask any questions as we go. Up until this point, because there's probably a few steps that might have happened before this, which we would go through, you would have an email that came into your Gmail and you would go, great, this is a lead. Now we know HubSpot sucks all of that data in and then creates the company and imports the contacts. So that would be your trigger to come into HubSpot, and then what happens next? Like, what would you do? So you clicked on companies. Yep.
You can either go via company or the contact.
Yep.
And then so we would locate the company.
Yep. So let's assume this is the company that emailed him.
Yep.
Yep. If you can do a real live one as it's happening, that's best. But we're kind of recreating now. That's okay. Yep, so this, let's assume this was the company that had emailed. Now, who was your contact? Like, who were you chatting with at this?
So the detail that's in the context below here. So the email and also information about that person again is automatically sucked in as well. So in this case, it probably would be Sarah that we're talking to.
So we're now looking to figure out whether or not this is someone that's worth handling to a salesperson to properly follow up. So what happens next? How do you qualify or decide if this is fits into your target market?
Yeah, so this is sometimes HubSpot a bit hit and miss, but in this case it's pretty good. This gives you some information about the company, and so what we're looking for is the industry, and then we're looking for number of employees, turnover. So
so HubSpot pulls data in.
Yeah. So it gives you quite a bit of information, but then we would go and search on their website. We would go to their LinkedIn. If we didn't know them specifically ourselves, we would go to somebody that we thought might know them and ask about them, and find out what they do and whether or not that matches what we provide.
Perfect. Yeah. So you might have a series of questions that you ask. You want to know what industry are they in. You want to know how many employees they've got. You want to know, are there any other things you like to obviously have a look at their website to get the vibe? Are they an established, legitimate company? Are there any other things that would help you qualify this person?
Yeah, what their products are, what industries specifically in the pharmaceutical they're supplying to.
Yep.
And we might also look at what their footprint is in terms of other exhibitions or other conferences that they may attend or exhibit at as well. So,
and you note all of that in HubSpot as you go. And then if you go, yes, this is a candidate, this is a good lead for us, what happens next? Like in HubSpot, do you
all information from then on goes through HubSpot. So you either enter it manually into it, or if you email or communicate via email, all that's captured in HubSpot as well.
Perfect.
You can actually we don't really do this, but you can actually make phone calls through HubSpot, so it captures phone calls and records phone calls. But basically what we're trying to do is develop a relationship, finding out who the person specifically or people that specifically we need to be speaking with, and we start a dialogue. And sometimes it's a slow burn. It might take.
So let's assume that this is a person you want to start a dialogue with, and they're a deal. Like, what happens next? Like, how do you create a deal or anything in here? How does that look?
So you create a deal. We either do it directly in HubSpot, or we use, if it's at the proposal stage, we use another.
So let's assume that you're doing it all in HubSpot. What?
You tested me out.
Okay. So this is why you find the knowledgeable worker who does this particular task. There you go. Deals. I reckon that's going to be it.
Yeah.
So let's create a deal.
So we might create a deal manually in HubSpot.
Okay, and then you'd populate all of this. And then you'd assign that to an individual.
Yeah. So we have a deal owner.
Yep.
And so we all assign the person that's responsible, the key so all the information regarding what we're trying to achieve, the deal,
And then you would create the deal.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. I'm going to stop the recording because I feel like that covers what it needed to. We've got to give Harry a round of applause. Thank you for that. There you go.